Hotep, my brothers and my sisters. I greet you with Hotep, Amandla, which means power to the people. Hotep, which means peace. All right. See who's gonna come in there tonight. Put this speaker on. See who's gonna be in tonight. Spontaneous, y'all. Spontaneous night. All right. See if we're on live. Yes. All right. All right. Because people moving slow, or I'm too spontaneous for them. Yes. I come unannounced at times when I'm inspired. That's when I come. Yes. You put on some music. All right. See how this go. All right.
We're gonna have a knowledge party. Come on, everyone, tell somebody. Let's elevate our minds. We're gonna have a knowledge party. Come on, everyone, tell somebody. Knowledge ain't hard to find. Now hold up, wait a minute. Let's put a little bit of knowledge in it. Everybody wanna go way back to Marcus Garvey, 1887. He was born a Nubian king. And he sparked the revolution. And he will always remain supreme. We will have a knowledge party. Come on, everyone, tell somebody. Let's elevate our minds. We're gonna have a knowledge party. Come on, everyone, tell somebody. Knowledge ain't hard to find. Let's take a little trip way back to the ancient land.
Hotep, brother. Chiamu. Mandela, brother. Amandla.
Sitting high on the throne. We were Nubian pharaohs. That's the word alone. That's the word alone. Mama Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Cedric Douglass, Martin Luther King. Come on, everybody, get a little bit of knowledge. Come on, everybody, come go with me. We wanna have a knowledge party. Come on, everyone, tell somebody. Let's elevate our minds. We wanna have a knowledge party. Come on, everyone, tell somebody. Knowledge ain't hard to find.
Now I'm Conscious Plant, and I made up a dance called the Knowledge. It's not hard to do. Everybody knows how to two-step, right? All you do is two-step, and on the third time that you step to the right, you're going to take your finger and put it to your temple like you're thinking. And each time you put it to your temple like you're thinking, you're going to go round and round and round, a one full circle. Y'all ready? It's not hard to do.
Not hard to do.
Let's go.
Oh, swing your partners, do-si-do, round and round and round we go. Swing them to the left and swing them to the right. It's a knowledge party tonight. Keep spinning around and round and round we spin it around. If you ain't gonna dance to the back of the line, no shucking and jiving, it's party time. If you ain't gonna dance to the back of the line, no shucking and jiving, it's party time. Round and round and round we go, round we go, round and round and round we go, round we go. We're gonna have a knowledge party. Come on, everyone, tell somebody. Let's elevate our minds. We're gonna have a knowledge party. Come on, everyone, tell somebody. Knowledge ain't hard to find. Kick it, spin it around, around, around. Kick it, spin it around, around, around. Kick it, spin it around, around, around. Kick it, spin it around, around, around.
Ashe. Hotel. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Hotep, my brothers and sisters, those of you, I welcome you. Those of you who will be coming on or will come on later on or this week, we thank you for tuning in. And those of you that know me, my name is James Anyabwile. I'm the spiritual teacher and awakener of the God in Action Ministries Spiritual and Culture Center. And on tonight, this is our SCS group, Scripture and Cultural Study Group. This is we usually do it on Wednesdays. However, I'm going to get on. I just get on when I'm inspired to do so. It could be any day. So sometimes you not get much time heads up. However, they can watch it later on if they're busy or didn't get the notification or something like that. But as I'm inspired, I will come on and just do what I do. Once again, welcome. We do not take your presence lightly on this evening. I hope you had a great one, and it will continue to be great. So once again, thank you. We at the God in Action Ministries Village Family Tribe welcome you. If you know how to share it, please share it. If you watch this later on, please share it with somebody. All right, that would be much appreciated. I share. All right, now, those of you who have seen or saw the post on the 3 platforms that we're playing on at this time, that is the subject we're going to be dealing with. All right, and I came up with that because I read the scripture and I had some questions to ask. And so I just wanted to deal with it openly in public in front of you, men and gentlemen, okay? And I just want you to, at the end of it, what do you think? I'm not trying to get you to convince you what I believe, or what I think, or what I feel, but come to your own conclusions, be an analytical and critical thinker, all right? That's what this is all about. All right, so once again, welcome. And the title is a little different, but real close. And the title on today is a question. Is the American government God established? Or was the American government established by God? Okay, or created by God? All right, that's a good question. Because those are people who read the scriptures. We got 2 billion Christian believers or people who say they live their life by the Bible. In America, we got 8 out of every 10 Black person is a Bible believer. And I do not criticize the Bible. It is a beautiful Bible if you know how to read it correctly. But there's some things I like to go back to at times to revisit revisit. Sometimes you have to go back and revisit and see, is it saying what somebody told you to say? Is it telling you basically all of the truth, or some truths, or half truths? So it's okay to revisit. And we're going to revisit this scripture. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this scripture, but it's found in Romans, the 13th chapter. And I'm going to use verse 1 and 2. All right. Romans, the 13th chapter, verse 1 and 2. And it reads, every person, and this is from the New Standard Bible, the New Standard Bible. You can read from different versions, may have a different word, but from the New Standard Bible, it reads, every person is to be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those which exist are established by God. And the question again is, was the American government established by God? All right. Then it tells you in verse 2, therefore, whoever resists authority, right, has opposed the ordinance or the command of God. And they who oppose will receive condemnation or damnation upon themselves. That was verse 1 and 2. All right. So you can read it in your own time. As I asked you to read it before you came on, so you can understand where I was going. So they're saying that all governments that have been established, all authority, right, have been established by God, all of them. No authority except from God, right? None of them exist that are established, that are not established by God. So when we talk about authority, we talk about government, right? Or establishment is talking about government. Now, what is government? Government is a governing body of a nation, state, community, right? And it has the power, responsibilities, and authority to create and enforce rules and laws in a society. That's a government or a governing body. All right. Now follow me. Now, according to the scripture I just read, Romans the 13th chapter, verses 1 and 2, it commands all people, right, to submit to whatever governmental authority they are under. Right. And we know that this nation, America, right, the governmental authority, this government we're talking about, have been established, founded, and built upon the blood or the backs, the blood, sweat, and tears of African people. All right, that's facts, right? And when you look at the history of America, how the government, how it was founded, and how the government operated and functioned, right? The so-called founding fathers of this nation who established the government, right? They were the first one to govern or rule this nation. These so-called founding fathers also had slaves, and they had children from these slaves or with these slaves, forced rape. All right. Let me give you a few names of these founding fathers who have established America under this slave government. All right. A slave sanctioning government. People that they taught you in school were great men. Right. Name a few, some of these founding fathers: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Benjamin Franklin, and others. So this government that has been established in the hells of North America was built upon, according to the history, racism and wickedness, corruption, and greed. And this so-called government, or this government, this authority, this governing body, has never been dismantled, have never been done away with, have never been torn down. So it must be still the same. All right? It's still the same. It may not look the same, but they just redesigned it, but they still have an agenda to reach the same goals, right? Now, it was the laws and policies that this government in America created and enforced, right, to set up a system of slavery and black codes, Jim Crow, black segregation, poverty, right, black miseducation, right? It was the policies and laws in America the governments used to to establish homelessness. It's not by accident, it's by design. Ghettos, legalized abortions, forced jab campaigns, sex change and same-sex marriages, all right? Not just adult sex change, even for our children. This government that has been established, all right, passed laws and enforced laws and policies and regulations to set this kind of stuff up. Unjust wars, the prison industrial complex. Yes. And they was all created and designed by their laws or through their laws and regulations and policies to oppress and control and destroy black people. And like Baba Dick Gregory, our ancestors who have transitioned, though they use laws and regulations, talking about the government in the hells of North America, use laws and regulations to establish all those things I just named off or read off, right? He says, I'm paraphrasing, just because those things were lawful, right? According to this government, they were lawful, but it did not make it right. They were lawful, but it did not make it right. Are you hearing me, brothers and sisters? All right. I just want to say straight up, because I know this is a sensitive world, sensitive people, and you can be accused of a lot of things. All right. And I just want to make this clear. I am in no way, any way, no shape or form suggesting that anyone revolt, or I'm not suggesting to anyone to revolt against the authority of the American government. That is not what I'm suggesting. All right, so I want to make that clear. But I asked this question after what I read about how the founders of this this nation and how they governed this nation. Do you believe it was established by the true God? That this the writer in the Bible in Romans the 13th chapter, verse 1 and 2, this writer in the Bible claims to have been established by God, and that we must submit completely to it? Do you believe that was created or created or established by the true God? All right, let me read the scripture again that inspired me to come on tonight. Romans the 13th chapter, verses 1 and 2. It says, every person is to be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God. And those which exist, right, are established by God. Now, this is verse 2 here. Therefore, whoever resists authority or rebel against it or revolt against it, this authority, right, has opposed the ordinance or the commands of God. And they who have opposed it will receive condemnation and damnation upon themselves. Now, I have a question to ask the Black church. All right? I have a question to ask the Black church. All churches, but the Black church in particular. Are these the scriptures I just read off that you stand on, solidly stand on? to avoid speaking out against wickedness and evil in the world, or the wickedness and evil that this government is spewing out into the world? I asked that question because the church seems to be real quiet, real silent when it comes to speaking truth to power. Though the stuff is going on, right? The church, the black church, have little to nothing to say. I'm not saying all churches, but too many. Okay? Is this the scripture that you stand on and keep you silent? Right? And I know a lot of preachers are silent about this is because not all, but too many have received what I would call hush money. Hush money. You know what I'm talking about? The 501c3s. So there's certain things you cannot speak on, certain things you cannot bring up, certain things you cannot challenge, certain things you cannot protest, though it is your responsibility and my responsibility and those who are righteous to speak up when evil appears to be on center stage. Right? So we have preachers, they're silent when it comes to the government. It could be any government. All right? Doing what they do. But when they stand in the pulpit, they'll shout and scream real loud, right? And terrorize their members with the message, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ and get saved like Christ, you're going to hell. If you don't live right, you're going to hell. You get in the pulpit and scream and holler and terrorize the people with that message. But you're afraid, it appears that you're afraid, right, to speak truth to power. Are you hearing me, brothers and sisters? Now, if Christ is the body, if the church represents the body of the Christ, all right, that's what it teaches. It's supposed to do what Christ had did or has done. Am I right? One thing about the Christ, when you read the scriptures, he spoke truth to power. He wasn't afraid to speak truth to power. I'm not talking about destroy the government, kill this person, do this, start a rebellion, start an insurrection. I'm not talking about that. I know a lot of people was afraid, probably sort of title. I don't want to be dealing with that. I don't want to have nothing to do with that. I'm not that silly or not that stupid to get on a public platform and say, do away with the government. The hell with the government. Let's start a revolt or rebellion. I'm not that stupid or silly. Because I know if something happens, I'll be standing all by my damn self. So I'm not that stupid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that stupid. But if the church represents the Christ, it should do what the Christ had done. He spoke truth to power whenever governing bodies were operating and functioning in wickedness. He spoke truth to power every time governing bodies was confusing, oppressing, and abusing the people. Yes, he did, according to the book. So if this has been going on since the founding of this nation by so-called founding fathers, right? And as I said, it has not been dismantled. It was redesigned. Same agenda, same goal, different methods. So if this is still functioning and operating, right? According to law, if any government asks you to violate your faith or your consciousness, then civil disobedience is appropriate. Talking about law, constitutional, and the Declaration of Independence. It says when there are unjust laws that diminishes the lives of others, civil disobedience is appropriate. So I'm saying, why are we so talking about the black church, but so many people who are in position to speak truth to power, but don't do it? Matter of fact, what they do, they collaborate with them, hobnob with them, so they can be on their good side. Are you hearing me? So the question was, again, was the American government really established by God? We read that scripture that there was no government or authority that ever been established, right? That did not come from God. They all come from God, and is command that we submit to the governing bodies. All right. Now, I'm going to switch on the same page. I'm going to switch a little bit. Many of us, or many people, say that our children has gone mad. They say they're rebellious. They're disrespectful. They have little or no respect for life or human life. Right? And the way they're behaving, anybody can come to that conclusion. And I understand why or how they can do that. But we just can't blame the youth for the way they are acting and behaving, because somebody have raised them and somebody is raising them. So you can't exclude, or we can't exclude ourselves when it comes to them behaving and acting the way they do. We can't excuse ourselves. We have to include ourselves also. Am I making sense? Now, in many cases, not all, but most, the way our children are behaving and acting, you know what that is, y'all? It's a judgment against the home, against religion, the miseducational system, the government, societies, the laws in society. It's a judgment against it all, because they see the hypocrisy in all of it. They see the hypocrisy in all of it. And now what they're doing, they're revolting against it. They're rebelling against it. They hear those in authority telling them, that person who governs, that's the person's authority, setting the rules and regulations. All right, they're being told by them to do this and to do that. But those who are in authority, right, telling them to do it, they don't see them doing it or leading by example. So they're revolting. See, nowadays it's not do what I say, but don't do what I do. To children now, the youth nowadays, now you got to show me. Are you hearing me, brothers and sisters? Now, what I've learned, like I said, they're revolting. I think they're smart. They're doing it in an unwise and destructive, self-destructive way. But I understand why they're revolting against governing bodies, the home, religious system, this educational system, law, society. I can see why they're doing that. I can understand why they're doing that. And I heard a master teacher say one time, if you don't protest against evil and hypocrisy, you cooperate with it. And that's what I'm talking about was this American government established by God? You know why? Because a lot of us who lives here is cooperating with all that they say, command, demand, and enforce, even when it's against their consciousness, even when it's against their faith, even if it's against their belief, even if against what their heart and mind is telling them. They just go along to get along, but our youth ain't playing that game. Maybe we can learn something from them. I'm not saying overthrow anything. I'm saying rebel against anything that's evil and hypocritical. Revolt against, meaning what? No longer let it have authority over you, control over you, dictate how you move, dictate how you think, dictate how you make decisions, dictate how you run your family, spend your money, run your household. No longer allowed to dictate that. Move yourself from under that type of authority. Are you hearing me, brothers and sisters? So you thought I was just talking about the government of America. No, it's a governing body who sets rules and regulations and laws, in the Pacific area, national, in the nation, state, community, society, okay, the home. There's a governing body in the house. There's a governing body in the school system. Somebody's making the rules and regulations and laws. It's not just the White House and all these different things, but they're all under that. People have a choice in all situations, brothers and sisters. And we have the right to revolt against any government. Once again, I just now said, including the ones that run the home, the educational system, the church, the marriage union. Somebody's setting rules and regulations and laws and laying it down. You have the right to revolt against all that when it enforces rules and policies that deliberately diminishes and destroys human life or the quality of life. But according to Scripture, what I read today, Romans 13, 1 and 2, it says you must submit to it, the government, the authority, whatever it may be, because it was established by God. God established it. And I want to ask again, was the American government established by God? Okay, now, so if any government or ruling body or authority that you're under that's enforcing rules and regulations and policies that diminishes human life or your life, that destroys your life, all right, that hinders your life, according to the Declaration of Independence. I know what this Romans 13 and 1 and 2 said. You got to submit because it's from God. The Declaration of Independence, it says, I think it was created in 1776 or something like that. Yeah. It says, man is endowed by his creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I know you heard that before. Then it says, whenever any form of government, it doesn't just say America, any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, meaning life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, becomes destructive to those ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, right? And to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles. You say you have the right to do that, right? To abolish it, to dismantle it, right? And so you can lay another foundation on which you can lay these principles upon: the pursuit of happiness in life, and the other one, liberty, right? Now, what I just have done, my little presentation, I just shared with you how this government in the hells of North America, the government of the home, the miseducational system and the religious system, etc., 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 how they're making rules and laws and policies and regulations that are diminishing and corrupting and destroying people's lives. And in so doing, it would only be wise, once again, to no longer allow them to govern over you. Or you understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir. I say again, I'm not in any way, shape, or form, right, suggesting to anyone to revolt or rebel against the authority of the American government or the authority that you're under. All I just wanted to do, inform, not convince. Just want you to think that you know you have other options. I want you to become an analytical and critical thinker. Because once a person feels, I can't do nothing, it's out of my power, or you do things out of fear, right? That's when hopelessness sets in. And hopeless people self-destruct or allow somebody to destroy them with their hands. Now, so if we're going to look at the government, the governing bodies or the authorities that's calling the shots for our lives, and once again diminishing our life, the quality of life, destroying our life, forcing us to do things that is against our will, we have the right to revolt. And it says once you do that, you know what I'm saying, you establish another foundation and you place the proper principles on that foundation. So you continue to live in happiness, have life, and have liberty. Unalienable rights that was given to us by our Creator. Okay? Now, so if you abolish the foundation of that government and no longer have authority over you, it says you have to establish another foundation, right? You just can't leave it just bare. Because you're going to be under somebody's government, under somebody's rule and regulations. No matter where you go in life. So I just want to present to you what foundation that we should allow to govern our lives. We're going to no longer allow these corrupt, wicked, twisted, freaky, demonic governments, wherever they lie, wherever they are established, to rule our life. Or no longer rule our life. The Most High God has given us 7 ancient African principles, spiritual principles, called Mayat. His Creator gave these principles to us to govern our lives when godless governments try to lead us in the wrong direction, confuse us, and force us to comply with twisted rules, laws, and regulations. Don't tell me that you don't see all these things that they pass nowadays. That does not uplift life, does not build a quality of life, but it reduces the quality of life. So Mayat is this foundation on which we should build these principles upon, so that they can govern our life. And Mayat is truth and justice, order, balance, reciprocity, righteousness, and harmony. And when we allow Mayat, M-A-A-T, to govern our lives, it will empower us, strengthen us. It will build and properly educate us. And it will transform us mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and in every other way, when we allow it to govern our lives. So that's why it's so important. I encourage you to study Mayat, because this foreign and strange government that are set up to govern our lives in various aspects of our lives, these foreign and strange governments that are set up are designed to lead us in the opposite direction of Mayat, or to Mayat, from Mayat. It's contrary to Mayat. It's the opposite of Mayat. It's the antithesis of Mayat. And we allow these things to take us off course from these principles, right? So that they will not have the ability to govern our lives. Our lives will be definitely destroyed. Yes, sir. Brothers and sisters, that's what I have today. I was just inspired, and as I'm inspired, I'm going to come on. You know, I'm not just looking at numbers. I'm just going to come on as I'm moved to come on. Those of you who may watch this later on, I thank you, and I pray that you pass this on. Good to see you, my brother. Brother Kiamu, thank you, sir. All right. I don't know anyone else is on or not. I'm not sure. If not, that's fine. But I thank you, and I wish you a beautiful, beautiful evening, the rest of the evening. I pray that you think about what was said and do not no longer allow wickedness, wicked governments and authorities to dictate how you're going to live your life. So, was the American government established by God? Where the biblical writer says we must submit to it, and if we don't, we'll have condemnation and damnation to our life? What do you think? I leave as I came in. Hotep Amandla, which means power to the people. I hope I was clear. It was on my spirit to share it. My time is up. God bless you and yours. Hotep.